What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on this video right here that I want to react to is like different clips of women just is it's about double standards, right? Some of the double standards that women, like they have when it comes to relationships and stuff like that and how men are starting to recognize these double standards and call women out for it. Men are not really, because of social media and the information that's going around, like men are not really going for this anymore. And so I'm going to play this video and react to some of the double standards that women are used to having go their way.
Told all the time. You're right. You look at the whole Me Too movement, and, it's not to say there weren't certain components of that initially that were beneficial, but largely it was believe her on
Mm,
second one.
yeah.
And I took enormous issue with that. I said, well, how could you just believe a woman by virtue of the fact that she is a woman? Don't things require an investigation?
Right.
Aren't we innocent until proven guilty?
Due
What's going
process.
wrong in society that suddenly, just because you're born a woman, you have a right to be, you're suddenly right on everything on second one. So I think, there's a lot going on in this country that's messed up in terms of the double standard and how men and women are treated. And I think
Mm,
the good news is that I think more and more people are becoming aware of that. I see a rising culture of men that have a newfound awareness that they've been painted as the bad guy from second one. What you said before, it's like a guy approaches you and it's like a woman is entitled to think, oh, this guy's going to do X, Y, and Z wrong before he even opens his mouth.
Right. Everything that you see.
all right. So I agree with her, right? That before, it used to be a situation where whatever the woman said as far as relationship was right. If she said that the guy was abusive, whether it be verbally, financially, or any kind of way, no, it was just, nobody just they just took it for what it was worth, for like what she said, and automatically the guy would be deemed like the villain in the situation. But nowadays it's changing, right? Because guys are no longer allowing this type of situation to go on because of social media and stuff like that. Women are now being exposed, and the truth really is coming out. People know now that there are two sides to every story. So that's the good part of, like the social media and men becoming aware now. So the double standard is kind of fading away. And all right, let me get back to this video and react to what this guy's saying.
Is back with hidden wires. Everything that you see, the infrastructure that you walk on, is basically taken for granted. And most women have no idea how any of that's even constructed. They just basically live within the paradigm that modernity kind of creates itself. That's why so many of them become delusional and say a world without men is easy, because they have no idea what they're talking about, essentially. And women.
All right, so some women, let me say, some women do really, they just really don't know why things are the way they are. They instead of educating themselves and seeking wisdom, they just really just go on a lot of like myths and stuff that have been passed down to them. And so that's why they have like a sense of entitlement. And when reality smacks them in their face, then that's when, they regret some of the decisions and the choices they made. They regret some of the, they regret like not really seeking wisdom and not really acting on that wisdom that they should have been seeking instead of having a good time. So yeah, a lot of times early on, they just feel like it's all about just, enjoying life and having a good time instead of trying to build, and grow. Basically that's what it's all about. So let me go back to this guy right here.
Always talking about they don't want a man to control them. But you go to a job and they tell you what time to be there. Right. They tell you what time to take a break. They tell you you can't use your phone. You always submit to money, but you won't submit to love. You know how to submit. You know how to give up your control, but why not for love and the person that's supposed to die for you? When you go to a job, don't they tell you how you should dress? Don't they tell you about your fingernails and how long they can be?
Number two.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. So, yeah, in a relationship, they would, like they want to run the show and have everything go their way instead of building together. But then when they get to a job or something like that, just like the guy said, when you get to a job, your boss dictates like what time you come in, what time you go home, what time you take your lunch break, and that they don't have any problem with that. But when it comes to somebody that you're supposed to be in a relationship with, somebody that you're supposed to be building with, then that's where the issue comes in. They want to give that person a hard way to go. They don't want to be cooperative at all, and so, that it kind of hinders the relationship. They don't really understand or sometimes don't really get the fact that it's more important to cooperate with the person that you're building a life with. But they don't see it like that. They see that, like their job is what's more important when, like jobs, the job really is not the most important thing. Like the most important thing in your life, I think, will probably be like whatever person that you choose to be your husband or your wife. That to me, that's more important because as a team, you can build a life together, financially, socially, spiritually. You can build a life together that will be more rewarding than what any job can do for you. And that, I speak from experience on that issue. So,
You
okay, let me go on to the next topic. Come on.
think oftentimes you hear women coming out being like, I'm a 10. I'm a 10. They walk in with this like, I'm a 10 and everyone's going to have to, fight to compete to get
Right.
me because I'm so amazing. You have that
Right.
coupled with social media where everything is filtered and you've got, now it used to be like the hair extensions and the fake eyelashes. Now it's like the hair extensions, the fake eyelashes, the Botox, the filler, and you got a filter on that mofo. It's like it's
Filter.
blown up. So
They're photoshopping the fat off of them now. It's crazy.
yeah. So it's like as a guy, you're like, yeah, you're looking and seeing like hordes of beautiful women. But I'll say this: some of those women that show up, you're like, is that her? You
Yes,
know it
I
happens.
remember.
I will very much.
All right. So yeah, I just think that so many women just think it's so much more important for them to be a baddie than it is for them to be a good person. Like, and willing to grow and work in a relationship. They put more emphasis on their hair, their nails, their eyelashes, and their clothes and stuff like that. When those things are really superficial. And BBLs and all that stuff, that's stuff that men don't even really care about, like your hair, your nails, and stuff like that. They want you to be presentable, but men really, loyalty is more important than all that stuff, right? Loyalty and cooperation, somebody who you can build with. That other stuff, the fake this and the fake that, to invest in that is a waste of time. Men are always going to like women no matter what it don't matter. You can have on a potato sack. It don't matter. Men are going to always be attracted to women, but they put so much more emphasis on those superficial things. And also those, when you invest in all of that nonsense, you really wasting money, something that can go towards building your legacy and building your empire. And a lot of women don't look at it like that. They don't see the fact that you spending money on things that really are not like are going to depreciate in value. It's not like you don't even have a chance like what you would if you was buying stock or something like that. You don't have a chance. But they want to invest in being baddies and all this other stuff, and in the long run that stuff don't pay off.
Myself an 8.
Say like a 7.5, 8.
Name a celebrity that would match.
Lauren London or something.
I'm gonna say I'm an 8, and the celebrity that would match me is Tiana Taylor. There we go. Yeah.
So you're 8 and Tiana Taylor is an 8.
I'm gonna say a 10. Rihanna, boy, what?
None of you ladies are a 10 or an 8 or anything close to that.
In reality, I think what happens is that social media played a role for these women to think they are these 8s, 9s, 10s, and it doesn't convert to being a wife. It doesn't convert to actually being a girlfriend. At a point in time, you're going to look your best. You're going to be in your prime. And then you're going to go from that dime to a 5, whatever, after that.
They don't.
So that's a good point, right? So no matter how much money and how much time you invest in being a 8, a 9, a 10, time catches up with everybody. And so if you're not a good person, if you're not somebody who's cooperative, if you're not somebody who have developed skills over the years to be able to maintain a relationship, somebody who's developed skills to be able to grow in a relationship, then you basically just wasting your time, because everybody gets old and your looks change as you get older. So, take that opportunity to grow, and then the person that you with will, really appreciate you and care for you more so than they would if, with the nails and all that superficial nonsense. So don't waste your time trying to be, a 10 or, a 9, or worrying about looking like Lauren London, all that stuff. Really, basically, it's nonsense. So, and let me see, that was the last clip right there. So, yeah, man, that basically, that's all I had for this video. Let me see. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.